For those of you who are like, oh, gaming, not on my watch, please. You missed out on this. First time we've like interacted.
Yeah.
You thought I was a Trump supporter?
You had so much Trump stuff because I only saw like a thumbnail. I was
Wait,
like,
you
oh,
aren't?
This guy is on it.
Oh my God. Everyone is meme me to oblivion. Every time I say something out of pocket, sarcastically, people are like, this is why T-Pain thinks you're a Trump supporter. Okay, I gotta say, I hate you so much, Hassan. You and T-Pain are not besties. No way. I hate you so much, Hassan. Wait, why? Why do you hate me? That is not fair. Listen, the mom I'm playing with T-Pain was great. Yeah. Oh, Donkey blasted our boy fucking pronouns as well. Oh, Donkey's gonna make mincemeat out of the fucking Starfield shit. It's so glitched out the ass. This is bread and butter. We'll look at that later, though. We'll do some more fun stuff later. Let's get back to the other fun stuff. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who famously is an absolute demon, was too much of a demon for the other demons in his own office. That's right. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is facing charges of bribery and abuse of the office. Now, you might be thinking, oh, Hassan, isn't this yet another case of woke DAs, woke George Soros-backed prosecutors attacking our boy who is bold, brave, and beautiful and a Trump supporter? No, as a matter of fact, the DAs in his office are also 1,000,000% Trump-supporting right-wingers. It's just that he is the most corrupt motherfucker out there that even all the other Republicans are like, dude, what are you doing? Now, there's some really funny aspects of this defense. Someone in the chat said, I work for the law firm representing him. I love that. But one of my favorite defenses on the Ken Paxton situation is that there is like a very weird Texas law, okay, that stipulates that you cannot be impeached for crimes or improper behavior that you engaged in before you got this position. Now, there's 20 charges, corruption. The main one basically is that he tried to stop a federal investigation being conducted into one of his homies. Okay, but my favorite counter to this is, and this is like very much lawyer speak, oh, in the state of Texas, you actually technically can't impeach someone over former, crimes that they may or may not have committed. And the law firm that's representing Paxton is claiming that the 2019-2020 Attorney General period is technically the former Attorney General period. So all of the transgressions or all of the laws that he may have violated doesn't count for this specific Attorney General run. So it's awesome. It's a really sick, and even then there's like 20 charges and one of them still will stick for technically this Attorney General run as well. But I love lawyers lawyering. This is such a sick-ass loophole. Let's take a look.
The impeachment trial is due to begin this morning in Austin, Texas, where the state's longtime Attorney General, Ken Paxton, is accused by his fellow Republicans of taking bribes and doing a long list of favors for a wealthy supporter. Paxton is an influential figure in the Texas GOP and a key ally of former President Donald Trump. As Janet Chamberlain reports, the trial is seen as a big test for Republicans. Will they remove an indicted Trump supporter who's still popular?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's like so evil that like you can see it on his face. You know what I mean? He's like one of those dudes who just like looks gross on top of just being a gross person. Again, one of my favorite type of characters out there.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton appeared to be in good spirits at a Labor Day picnic.
Wait, is that his mistress that he's kissing in the mouth? Or is that his wife that he cheated on? Because he did that as well. So there's that. Dude, that's the wildest part about this, by the way. That's the wildest part about this situation is that ugly motherfucker was getting pussy on the side, dude. Like, that ugly motherfucker had a wife and he was getting pussy on the side. It's crazy, dude.
Over the weekend, despite a fight for his political survival just hours away.
Pray for us as we go forward.
The rare public appearance comes after state House members, many fellow Republicans.
Ladies love that fucking one eye is lazy. Look, dude, they nut. He's got the permanent when you nut and she keeps sucking face. You know what I mean?
Voted in May to impeach him on charges that include bribery, obstruction of justice, and abuse of power.
He broke the law.
What is this audio? Ah! Ah! God, I love this, dude. It's just bass boosted, dude. They wanted the Zoomers to participate in the process. You can't make fun of him for cheating. He's always seeing two women. Oh, come on now.
Based on almost 4,000 pages of documents, Paxton is accused of repeatedly abusing his office to help real estate investor Nate Paul evade legal trouble in exchange for providing favors to Paxton that allegedly included renovations to his home, employing the woman Paxton was allegedly having an extramarital affair with, and enlisting Paul's help to set up an Uber account so Paxton could meet up with his alleged mistress. Paxton has denied any wrongdoing. In court filings, his attorney arguing they have no evidence to support any articles of impeachment.
Just so we're clear, the allegations are untrue. They are false.
I just want to make sure that the right person gets elected based on what the voters did in this country.
A vocal supporter of President Trump who contested the 2020 election, Paxton appeals to his conservative.
Nate Paul might be the least trustworthy dude I've ever seen. Dude looks like a straight criminal. Yeah, because he's a real estate developer in Texas. Of course he looks like a straight criminal. Like, what do you think? Dude, he's awesome. This entire situation is awesome because Operation Deep Sea, how Nate Paul pulled the strings on the Attorney General's office to investigate his enemies. Like, the Texas journalists are making absolute mincemeat out of Ken Paxton's asshole right now. Okay? Like, because this is not only a bunch of a beautiful consortium of villains, they're very telegenic villains, but they're also like hilariously, they're comically corrupt. Paxton's wife is also a state senator who's been recused from the impeachment trial. Yes, that was another very funny moment there as well, because although he cheated on her, it still doesn't matter. She's like standing by his side, it seems. I talked about that briefly as well. Italian Jenk on the right. Yeah, he does look like Jenk a little bit. Paxton Moke Shouty, 100 P, dude. I love to see it, folks. Love to see it. Oh, also the vote to dismiss is failed. What was it? What were the numbers? It was like 6 nays, I think. Or 6 dismissals and then 24 yays. So that got clapped. Is a 24-6. How are you 6 people? How do you live with yourselves, dude? At that point, I guess it's like Texas, so it doesn't really matter how corrupt you are. You know what I mean? They're like, what do you mean? I'm a big city lawyer, brother. That's how it works. Anyway, 6 Republicans. It don't matter. It's Texas. The people that are bringing these charges to him are Republicans. The people that blew the whistle are Republicans. The judge, jury, and executioner will be a Republican. We are talking about Texas, okay? You think it's like woke libtards doing the bidding? Like, no, fuck no. That's why I joked about how these are like George Soros backed DAs or whatever that brought these charges. Nope. Okay? Nope, not at all. These are fucking Republicans. These are like real Republicans who are like, dude, like a level of corruption that is permissible is fine and dandy. Everybody does it. You went above and fucking beyond. What are you doing? A pro-Paxton super PAC donated a fuck ton of money to state senators and the Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who is presiding over the trial. They'll still try and save his ass, but I do feel like he's super cooked, and it might hurt the party down the line. Like, keeping him in that position and like showing to Texans that he is like absolutely a guy who is definitely guilty of like a whole bunch of bullshit, who abused the powers that he had in that office, and then like protecting him after all of that would only show the Texas voters that the Texas GOP is like super corrupt. I don't think Texans care. No, they do. I think they do, because this is like an open and shut corruption situation. No, because guys, one, this is an open shut corruption case. Two, you're talking about other Republicans who are also Trump supporters, who are also like hardcore Republicans who have been voted on for those positions of power, that are saying like, no, fuck this guy. Like, this guy's fucked up. It's definitely different. Texan here don't care. Okay, well, you're in here. It doesn't matter that you don't care, because they're all fucking horrible people regardless. Because you are in here. You're a Texan who is a 42-month subscriber. Of course you don't give a shit, because his replacement is going to be a demon anyway. I get where you're coming from. We're covering it from the perspective of like having fun with the issue itself. I'm not saying that this is like going to genuinely change the outcome of politics or anything like that. A lot of those Republicans are trying to keep their seats as they trend D, so this is an easy way to show you are not just a right-wing loon to the suburbs. There's that element of it as well. But I think that, well, here's the thing. I think that as Texas keeps developing and urbanizing, whether you look at Dallas, Houston, Austin, right, becoming like major cities, and they have been for a very long time, as a matter of fact, you realize that like there is a sea change, there's an attitude change that inevitably happens. Okay, there's an attitude change that inevitably happens, even though Texas has had the white Latino population on lockdown. The Texas GOP has had the white Latino population on lockdown for some time now. I'm not one of those like Texas is becoming blue Andes, but I do believe that even in these districts, the more urbanization happens in Texas, the more you're going to inevitably have suburbs that are a little bit more moderate. This doesn't change the outcome for the entire state, but year over year, these demographic shifts, and also, more importantly than demographic shifts, the accompanying urbanization creates an environment that like Texas will turn blue again. And I don't mean in like a Dixie crack kind of way. Okay? What is this? Lots of people are watching this in Texas, mostly because you can't go outside. Yeah. Like, I'm not one of those like Beto O'Rourke truthers or some shit. I'm saying that like, I'm simply stating that the attitude change you see or the internal conflict that you experience in the Republican Party is obviously going to bear itself out in elections across the board, all around the country, and Texas is not spared from this. Dallas, El Paso, San Antonio, Houston, Austin are all blue, but it's about turning the suburbs blue now. Yeah. So, ultimately, this does show like pure corruption, like in a really fucked up way, in a really obvious way, in a way that even like Republicans will say, look at and go, it's kind of fucked up.
The base, and last year secured his third term as Attorney General. He has been a constant thorn in the side of the Biden administration, filing more than 20 lawsuits on issues ranging from COVID restrictions to abortion guidelines and immigration, winning most of those cases in front of Trump-appointed judges.
There is no other state in this country with so much influence over the fate of our nation. And this is solely because...
Oh, by the way, the irony is that a lot of people think like the true Texans actually vote deep red. It's like, no, I don't want to fuck this number up, but I remember looking at something a while ago that showed that it wasn't necessarily the native Texans that have been there for multiple generations that were deeply voting red, especially ones that live in those big cities that I just mentioned. They vote blue, as a matter of fact. It's usually the dumbasses that come from all these other fucking states to be like, Texas is this like libertarian safe haven that fucking goes and votes red. It's always the fucking transplants that literally vote red rather than the native Texans, which is pretty funny. But that's another issue. Oh yeah, it was this one. Yeah, NATO. Beto won with native-born Texans. Cruz won all the born-again Texans. Yep.
Of the relentless challenges I bring against Biden's unconstitutional policy agenda.
Now Paxton's fate is in the hands of the Texas Senate. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick will serve as the judge, and 31 state senators will preside over the trial as jury, including Paxton's wife, Angela, a state senator, though she's barred from voting.
I think for Republicans, this is a litmus test of, is there a line at which you're going to say, I don't care how popular the person is with the base, we're still going to remove them because the actions that they've committed are sufficiently troubling that they can no longer remain in office.
If all 12 Democrats vote to convict Paxton, 9 Republican votes would still be needed. Acquitted or convicted, Republicans nationwide will be watching. For CBS Mornings, I'm Janet Shamlian in Houston.
Yep. I love that. Do we have more? I want to know more. You're a meme man, Mr. Hassan. Thank you. I love being a meme man. I'm applying for a job. Will you be my reference and help me lie to future employers? Yes, always. Yes, I did see the XUC Meat Canyon. That pick embodies the 3 archetypes of conservative men. Yeah. Okay. I want to dive a little bit more into this though, because I feel like there's more to it than just this. Here it is. Specifically, Paxton benefited from Nate Paul's employment of a woman with whom Paxton was having an extramarital affair.
The clerk will read the next article.
Article 9, Constitutional Bribery, Paul's employment of mistress. While holding office as Attorney General, Warren Kenneth Paxton engaged in bribery in violation of Section 41, Article 16, Texas Constitution. Specifically, Paxton benefited from Nate Paul's employment of a woman with whom Paxton was having an extramarital affair. Paul received favorable legal assistance from or specialized access to the office
Trial
of
is
the
live.
Attorney
We can
General.
go. We can dive into it.
Attorney General Paxton, how do you plead?
Those allegations are flat out
false. Here, let's take a look at the fucking impeachment trial.
By that committee, showing Paul is in a meeting with his attorney and one of Paxton's top officials.
Here,
at
let's
the
look
time,
at. Let's do a little bit of attorney watching. I gotta pee. I'll be back.
That investigation.
They spliced all the Wi-Fi lines. They destroyed my camera system. So that happened at all 3 locations.
In it, you can hear David Maxwell, who was the director of criminal law enforcement for the AG's office, standing firm.
Most stuff you're complaining about is certainly within the law.
And then this exchange between Maxwell and Nate Paul's attorney.
I don't think that our raising these kinds of questions, talking to you, talking to Ken, whoever, is any way of obstruction. We're just trying to figure out what happened.
I understand, but they're going to think that that's what we're doing, trying to obstruct a federal investigation.
Now, when Paul was arrested, his attorney released this statement to WFAA, saying his charges have nothing to do with Ken Paxton, nothing whatsoever, and called the impeachment effort weak. But former prosecutor turned UNT Dallas law professor Angela Downs says the prosecutors in the impeachment trial will focus on shutting that down.
The prosecutors on this case will be able to make those connections.
Back in 2018, Paul contributed $25,000 to Paxton's campaign. They were connected, but that's not unusual. But Paxton is accused of misusing his position as Attorney General to do favors for Nate Paul and his business in exchange for favors of his own.
That's not unusual.
In addition to accusations that he used his office to help Paul get info on his own federal investigation, the articles also claim Paul hired a woman Ken Paxton was having an affair with, and in exchange for his legal help, Nate Paul hooked Paxton up with some home renovations.
Nate Paul admitted that she worked for one of his companies. However, he did not know how much she was paid and could not identify a single specific project that she worked on.
The evidence released by the impeachment committee actually includes this employment contract, showing that the woman worked for Paul. There are also records from Uber showing fake accounts allegedly created by Paxton using the service to visit Nate Paul and his alleged mistress.
This is almost uncharted territory. To have someone whose name, Mr. Paul's name, being part of the conversation, being connected to so many particulars of the case, really puts you on notice.
And many legal experts believe that Paul's current legal issues could prime him to switch his stance.
he's really in a position where he's got to start thinking about his defense and how he can protect himself.
He does look like Jank a little bit.
And so this might put him in a very vulnerable position where he might be willing to, to speak against the Attorney General.
And as for Nate Paul's own legal woes, trial is set for July of 2024, an undoubtedly much different story than the one told back in July of 2017. In North Texas, I'm Morgan Young.
With some history on Nate Paul,
beautiful.
How surprising is it that you would have an Attorney General that would be tied so tight with this guy who's now under federal indictment? I mean, he alleged of all kinds of financial crimes.
It's too many touch points. I mean, I think.
Okay, let's watch the opening statement from the prosecution.
Earlier this year, Mr. Paxton came to the legislature seeking $3.3 million in taxpayer money to settle a whistleblower lawsuit.
There is no fucking way my man has that mustache. I'm sorry. I cannot go on for any longer without addressing what this unfaithful Jebediah ass mustache is. What is going on? Oh my fucking God. There is no more a Texas mustache from a Texas prosecutor. God, I fucking love this country and I love this state. Oh my God. That is not allowed. That should not be allowed. How do you do that? How do you let that slide? I'm no big city lawyer now. Dare I say. This man here, Ken Paxton, abused his position as Attorney General to the highest crimes of infidelity. It sucks that so many people from fucking Austin don't actually have thick-ass accents like this. Because, like, he looks like he should have that. He looks like he should speak like, I'm no big city lawyer now. I do declare, sir. I do declare. I'm just a small-town country lawyer.
Lawsuit. Mr. Paxton would not answer any questions about the underlying claims. He had successfully blocked any discovery in the case for almost 2 years, and he refused to justify the settlement. The House investigated the serious allegations raised by the whistleblowers.
He looks like that guy from Naperville who acts like he's from Texas. No, man, this is incredibly Texas. No, it sucks when you go to Austin and you realize that, like, none of those motherfuckers have thick accents. Okay? When you visit Texas and it's just like, okay, things that I thought were going to exist in Texas, massive mega churches literally everywhere. Massive parking lots, massive mega churches, worst traffic you've ever seen, okay? But then you want a lot of like, oh, I do declare, sir. Like that kind of shit. And then it's just so like, they talk exactly like we do, okay? Like this man looks like he says Jebediah regularly, and when you hear him speak, it's like he's never said Jebediah. It sucks.
The House uncovered egregious misconduct and abuse of office by the Attorney General of the state of Texas and voted overwhelmingly to prefer articles of impeachment to the Senate. This is why we are here. The allegations in the articles reveal that the state's top lawyer engaged in conduct designed to advance the economic interests and legal positions of a friend and donor to the detriment of innocent Texans. Mr. Paxton turned the keys of the Office of Attorney General over to Nate Paul so that Mr. Paul could use the awesome power of the People's Law Firm to punish and harass perceived enemies. I was raised in rural Texas.
God damn it. God damn it, dog. You can't. No, see? It would hit so much harder if he's like, I was raised in rural Texas. God damn it. No, the fuck you weren't. No, he was. I'm telling you, man. This is literally what I'm talking about. It sucks. There's probably Texans in the chat that are making fun of us right now because it's not like, it's more of like a Louisiana drawl, you know what I mean? Or Mississippi or something like that. But like, you expect Texas to be like that, but it's not. It sucks. It sucks. Northern Texas has accents, not Central South Texas.
Honor is more important than money, where integrity matters. By a family deeply affected by political corruption. This is precisely the type of grave official wrong that our Texas Supreme Court has said warrants impeachment.
This is what conservatives mean when they say colleges ruined the youth. They took his voice. No, I feel like no, it's just like, no, this is just Texas. I think, like, I don't think it's that. I think it's normal. I mean, there's different like regional dialects and whatnot, but for the most part, it is how it is. My parents used to have thick accents back in the 90s, but the rise of pop culture has taken that away. But also, remember, Californians used to have thick-ass accents, too. Californians, if you look at the video of, like, drunk driving laws being implemented in California in the 80s, you hear them literally talking like what you would expect someone to talk like a Texan does. Unless you go to bumfuck nowhere, you don't hear accents very much here in Texas. Yeah, Californians used to fucking sound like, in the 80s, Californians used to sound like way more like this, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? That type of shit. And then it turned into more like, Los Angeles is different, obviously. I'm talking California. I mean, that was 3 Californians. I was in California in the 80s. Californians did not sound like that. I feel like Californians in rural-ass areas definitely did have more of a southern drawl. I'm not talking about San Francisco. I'm not talking about Los Angeles. I'm talking about, like, rural areas in California. California was also red. Like, it was a fucking red-ass state, you know? You got Richard Nixon. You got Ronald Reagan. People who don't have accents are fully assimilated into general culture. Neither of my parents had accents, but my stepdad's parents, who lived way out in East Texas for 50 plus years, couldn't and don't want to shake their accents. Anyway, this is more so a product of what we talk about all the time. The real divide in America oftentimes is not on a state-by-state basis, but instead like the rural area versus suburbs and cities. And suburbs are like the main one because suburbs, district by district, can go either way. And recently, in the past couple elections, they have moved, at least with Donald Trump, they've moved a little bit in the direction of libtard voting rather than I just want fucking deregulation and tax breaks, so I'm going to vote Republican voting. So that's what's going on right now. Rural, always voting reliably blue. Reliably red. Urban areas usually voting reliably blue. There's some differences, but big cities usually vote blue. And then the suburbs can go either way. Anyways.
All the articles, but if you were looking at the 2/3 vote and what's needed to remove General Paxton, then all those were close votes. A couple of them, you got 21 senators, but more of them, you got more like 20. And there were.
Can you explain why libtard is okay, but R word is not? Isn't it derived from the R word? Yeah, but it just means like stupid liberal. So it doesn't mean like someone with a mental disability or mental illness. Also, I think it's fine, but many others might not. You know what I mean? But I still use it because I think it's such a stupid thing that Republicans say all the time, and I think it's funny.
It's a close vote at this point. I said on Inside Texas Politics, I've said before that I thought they had the votes to remove him, but not the votes to ban him from seeking office again.
You still feel that way?
I think it's probably closer. I think there are a couple of swing votes and people I'm looking at for how they vote and where this goes. But I think that, and it's been interesting to watch and see what kind of attention people are paying, and to see in the crowd whose ears perk up and who seems to be zoned in and zoned out in the jury. But I think that it's very.
I use it, but I have to bite my tongue with my leftist friends and SJW circles because some will lose their minds. Yeah, they're being They're behaving like liptards, brother. That's what it is. It's no fun Andes out there fucking YOLO. But yeah, it has nothing to do with, I don't think it has anything to do with mental illness, and more so about like making fun of Republicans who say being a liberal is mentally ill, like mental illness. That's why it's funny. This looks like those shitty church shows at 2 a.m. Yeah, I thought this was going to actually show the trial a little bit and it would be fun, but it's not. It's not hitting in the way that I wanted it to. And also, libtard is our word. You know what I mean? Like our word. We own it. So it's called reclaiming. Okay? And not our word as the letter R. Our word. Okay? There's also a looming government shutdown, but let's move on from the Ken Paston story to GOP presidential candidates hitting campaign trail over Labor Day weekend. That's right. How about you guys stop watching what words I'm using and start watching the fucking clock that shows you that the top of the hour is upon us and 9 minutes have passed, as a matter of fact, when there's a 3-minute ad break coming. Okay? If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Republican candidates were out in force on Labor Day trying to gain some traction, but former President Trump stayed off the trail, sitting on his big lead in the polls. Rachel Scott is tracking the race. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, George, good morning. And Labor Day has long been considered the unofficial kickoff to a presidential campaign. This crowded Republican field has spent millions of dollars in advertising. They've hit the trail in the early states, but so far it has made little difference. Donald Trump is still the front runner, and his lead is only growing. This morning, Donald Trump's rivals taking to the campaign trail in the first in the nation primary state, New Hampshire.
I think Labor Day is when campaigns begin.
But it's the former president who still dominates this race. Even as Trump stays away from the trail, his popularity among Republicans only growing and hanging over his opponents.
Best president ever!
Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence still forced to defend his actions on January 6th.
Americans should have had 4 more years of you as vice president in addition to President Trump as president. So, how do you justify that going into 2024?
I had no right there to turn me election. I knew I did my duty that day, and we're going to go out there and we're going to win at 24.
Pence pitching himself as a candidate for change.
We need new leadership in the White House, and I believe we need new leadership in the party.
But it's entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, a political newcomer and fierce defender of Trump that has risen.
At this point, will Trump just not campaign and see how many votes he can get lol crazy? I don't know. I mean, it worked last time. Hello? That's what Brandon did. That is literally what Brandon did.
Hello.
That was a Brandon move. He's pulling a Brandon. He's pulling a let's go Brandon. This Biden moment from the weekend.
It's like
pulling a fire alarm and escaping into the Situation Room with my most trusted advisors to game out how the introduction of the Biden DAP will affect 2024. What is
what Dap Me Up is? It's like a.
Do
you know what Dap Me Up is?
No.
Okay, so you have to like that. That's how you Dap Me Up. So do it. Dap Me Up. Woo!
The way we do it in my neighborhood, you go like this. You walk up, you go like this. And you go like
oh, can we do this?
No, let's do it. You go
so
this. No. Keep it
Sorry.
Come on. You're too old.
Yo, he's got that old man grip, though. That's scary, okay? Yo, this is a fucking awesome Brandon moment. However, the way he's gripping on that is scary, dog. That's like classic old man strength. He doesn't know how fucking strong he is, dude. He's literally gripping on. He's gripping on like this is a lifeboat. He's gripping on in the way that fucking Leonardo DiCaprio should have at the end of Titanic to that fucking piece of wood. You know what I mean? Holy moly, he's got that adrenochrome-ass grip. Yeah, he's got that fucking... He's got the type of grip that you have only in Baki, where he can, like, pinch a fucking phone book and shred it. That's crazy.
This, and then this.
Okay.
And then this.
Okay.
Look, he's double dipping. Dude, that's too much. and he's pulling her close. Oh God, she's like laughing, but she's also terrified. You can tell.
This, okay.
Then this.
Okay.
All right, you got it?
I got it.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Oh, good to see you too. Please let me go. Oh God. Dude, this video is awesome. Look at them titties too. God damn, nipples protruding, disrespectful. Okay, like looking like Barney Frank out here in this bitch. Woo! I love this video. I love this video so much. It goes in either direction. This video's got it all. This video's got something for the conservatives who are going to be like, look at him. He's about to like eat this like little lady, okay? And then it's great for the Brandon fans as well.
What dap me up is? It's like a do you know what dap me up is?
No.
Okay, so you have to like that. That's how you dap me up. So do it. Dap me up. Woo!
The way we do it in my neighborhood, you go like this. You walk up, you go like this.
This proves that Biden still fucks mad respect. Dude, this is such a good Brandon moment. He is so real, dude. He is so fucking human here. Dude, let me tell you something, okay? He's piping up Dr. Jill until the walls are sweating, okay? You can tell just by that. This man is a dynamo, dude. Back walls are being shattered, dude. He's going to get COVID from her just because he can't keep away. He's like, I'll take the COVID, Jack. Look alive. Bro, I'm eating. What the fuck? Yeah, you know who else is eating? Joe Brandon. Dr. Biden's ass. That's what he's eating, okay?
Oh, can we do this?
No, let's do it. You go
So
this. No.
Sorry.
Come on. You're too old. You're getting old. This.
She's loving it, dude.
This. And then this.
Okay.
And then this.
Okay.
All right. You got it?
I got it.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. What dap me up is? It's like a
I feel like often we see him stutter, and I think he's a dino, while maybe he's just very anxious in official stuff. No, man, he's not fucking anxious in official stuff. It's just the lights are not always on, brother. What are you talking about? Like, he's not just like a neurodivergent minor, okay? No, he's just, if you look at old Biden when he's always on, he is a phenomenal retail politician. He's always had like goofs and gaffes that humanize him, you know what I mean? He's not like just a shy boy ooh-woo. He's just, the lights are not always on. That's it. Bro's out here rizzing people up while his wife is out. Yeah, Jill Biden, the first lady, tested positive for COVID-19. The president announced, the White House announced she's experiencing mild symptoms, and President Biden tested negative. He's out here dapping ladies up. Meanwhile, his fucking wife is Jill Brandon is just hospitalized, okay? Not from COVID, but from this dick. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. All right, we're done with that. We're moving away from that. I'm sorry. Dude, seeing Brandon behave this way got me feeling some type of way, okay? It's just like, it's hard.
Powers Act. What's that going to do? That War Powers Act. What's that going to do?
Yeah, I mean, this is when he was always on. You can tell he's like somewhat charismatic. Bro just wants to be informed. What the fuck is? Oh yeah, I saw this one too.
I want to be informed.
My dude is a horn dog today. You immediately pointed out his yitties. Listen, man, whenever I see a dude out there with protruding nipples, I got to talk about it, okay? A little bit of gyno. We got to notice it. Fellas, I'm not alone on this, right? I can't be the only one who sees yitties and goes, those are some New York boobs right there. Those are some Delaware's finest. Honkers. Hope I never meet you, man. I got puffy nips. Don't worry, man. Before you show up to the meet and greet, just like rub a little bit of ice on them nips and get rid of it. You know what I mean? Have them protruding out. Standing at attention. You know what I'm saying? And then you're good.
In the polls after the first debate.
He's going to be my advisor. That's what we're going to do. Mentor and advisor.
As the 2024 campaign heats up, President Biden touting his record in Philadelphia, sharpening his attacks on Trump without mentioning his predecessor by name.
When the last guy was here, he looked at the world from Park Avenue.
I look at it from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I look at it from Claremont, Delaware.
Both Trump and President Biden have kept relatively light campaign schedules. Biden has held just one campaign rally since announcing his re-election bid, and the two could be heading for a rematch. A Wall Street Journal poll shows Donald Trump.
Years of nipple insecurity therapy down the drain. Thanks, Hassan. Guys, I literally had the puffiest nipples of all time. What the fuck are we talking about? I hear you. I feel you. I see you.
Pulling even further ahead, nearly doubling his lead over DeSantis with now almost 60% of the support. And take a look at this. The polling average from our partners over at 538 really shows just how much Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has fallen behind. So weeks after announcing his campaign, he was polling at just over 24%. That has now dropped off to 14%. Ramaswamy and now former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley have risen in the polls, but it's Trump that's holding that steady lead far above his opponents, George.
And what a comment that is on our Times 91 felony indictments, yet he's consolidated support in the GOP. Okay, Rachel, thanks very much.
Well, hey there.
Before we get to the Jill Brandon getting fucking the vid, let's talk about a hilarious gay TikToker's commentary on Mike Pence having a hard time staying in the closet during his campaign trail.
About this Mike Pence clip in a campaign stop in Iowa.
Yep. Okay, here. You want me to work that for you? Well, I just get a photo. Just get a photo. We gotta keep moving. Would you like a ride, or you gotta keep moving? They said I gotta keep moving. Okay. I wouldn't mind driving. This is a little bigger than my. This is a little bigger than my John Deere. It's a beauty. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. Are you competing with it?
It's like, where do we even begin? Look, as an openly proud gay man myself, I understand that coming out of the closet is just not possible for everyone, so I really feel for those who can't. But when you have dedicated so much of your political career to shitting on LGBTQ people, and you are still this fucking obvious flaming creeper, I have zero sympathy for you. Now, I'm not gonna speak for that hot farmer's sexuality.
Let me, we're going to run this back. Hold on. We got to do this again.
You've got to talk about this Mike Pence clip in a campaign stop in Iowa.
Okay, here. You want me to work
Oh, yeah. You want me to work that for you, partner? I know my way around these levers, if you know what I mean.
You want me to work that for you? Well, I just get a photo. Just get a photo. We got to keep moving.
Hey, how about you shut the fuck up, Steve?
Would you like a ride, or you got to keep moving?
Would you like a ride, he says. Mike Pence is thinking about that ride in that very moment, going, hell yeah, I'd like a ride. Give me a ride on that big green tractor, pretty boy.
They said I got to keep moving. Okay.
Unfortunately, my fucking stupid staffer Steve wants me to keep moving, but wouldn't mind driving your big one.
This is a little bigger than my John Deere.
A little bit bigger than my John Deere, let me tell you. But I know my way around these parts. Despite the fact that you got a big one, let me tell you, I've handled bigger loads than what you are seeing in front of me right now.
It's a beauty. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. Are you competing with it?
It's like, where do we even begin? Look, as an openly proud,
all right, let's see what the comments are.
Obvious flaming creeper, I have zero sympathy for you. Now, I'm not going to speak for that hot farmer's sexuality because that sweltering chemistry.
What is William Osmond doing at the fucking Iowa State Fair, by the way? What's happening? Is this like a new bit? Is he just like doing a new YouTube video where he's like, I tricked Republicans into thinking that I'm like an Iowan farmer or something? Like what's happening there?
Because that sweltering chemistry might just be him being nice and professional. But oh Mike, you silly, obviously gay goose. You have as much chance of having that farmer bend you over that John Deere tractor as you do being president.
Pence's DL on Grindr and saw that guy prior to the event. Like it. I don't know why we're being so horny today. But let me tell you, it's hard not to be on a hot summer day when you walk up to a John Deere truck with a real American hog and you notice that the John Deere truck he's working with is a little bit bigger than the John Deere trucks you've got back at home, and mother's not around. So obviously, despite of the fact that maybe your stupid-ass staffer Steve keeps telling you to move it along, maybe you'll be a little bad today. Maybe, just maybe, you'll sit there for a little bit longer and keep cranking those shifts, thinking about cranking the farmer's shift a little bit. Because he knows his way around them gears. Like he knows his way around man ass. That's right. Okay, we're done. All right, now we're moving. Okay. First Lady Jill Biden tests positive for COVID-19.
Jill Biden, who is now tested positive for the coronavirus for a second time. The First Lady is, quote, experiencing only mild symptoms at this time. That's according to the White House. But both the First Lady and President Biden are in that high-risk group of 65 and older. And the White House says so far, this is good news from the White House, President Biden has not gotten sick. Nancy Cordes is at the White House for us following all of this. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. We're told the First Lady will stay at their home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, as a precaution for now. The president is back here at the White House after spending the weekend with her. He's going to have to continue to be tested. He tested negative most recently last night. Now, we saw the First Lady on Saturday when she joined her husband on a trip to Florida to tour storm damage from Hurricane Idalia. And she was supposed to start actually teaching fall classes this week at a local community college. Instead, her aides say she's going to be replaced temporarily with a substitute. The president, as you'll recall, has had COVID once last July, and he'll have to be tested routinely this week because he's slated to head to India and Vietnam for a pair of summits in just 3 days. The First Lady's diagnosis comes as COVID cases are spiking in the U.S. According to the CDC, COVID hospitalizations were up nearly 19%.
All right. When will the conspiracy theories come and say that, like, actually Jill Biden didn't get COVID? They're just faking it. They're just faking it specifically so that they can do COVID shutdowns. I'm assuming that that's what's going to happen, right? Like, it has to. I got COVID as soon as the freshman arrived at my college. That or she died and was replaced by a double. No, that one is too complicated. These guys are not working with like this kind of complicated narratives anymore. That's like QAnon shit. So already been saying this since school started back and the spike started. Yeah, no, it's definitely happening. I'm putting that as a lock. I assume because it perfectly plays along with the narrative that they're trying to create already, like that, you know, COVID is happening, and like lockdowns are coming again. When we here at the Hasanabi broadcast know the truth, they are faking it. Dr. Jill Biden didn't get COVID. Dr. Jill Biden had a sexual injury. Let me tell you. Dr. Jill Biden was at Burning Man with Dr. Joe Biden. And when they were in the fuck pile with Diplo, turns out Dr. Jill Biden had a little slip in the mud. Therefore, she needed to go away for a little while and rest her injury, nurse it a little bit. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, the dynamo, is out there on the campaign trail, and he don't give a fuck. He's letting the grippers out on this day. Okay, we're done. I promise I'm done. I'm so done. I'm done.
% in 1 week in mid-August, thanks in part to the emergence of new variants. Now, aides say the First Lady's case is currently mild, and she is up to date on all her shots and boosters. But, Gail, we wish...
They already are?
Does anybody else not give a flying fart about Jill Biden or COVID? I just want to understand why they're trying so hard.
Wait, no one is. It's the conservatives that are trying hard. The reality is, and everyone gets mad at me, or even in this community when I mention this, But like, people don't want to think about COVID. People are done with the fucking lockdowns. People are done with the shutdowns on the liberal side as well as the Republican side. And it's like the weirdos on the Republican side that are like desperate and horny for the low stakes battle that they want to go back to. Okay? When they had the COVID shit going on. Now this one has 34 fucking likes. I don't know how the hell you even found this. Jesus Christ. But, you know, I'd be shocked if there weren't actual people out there that are doing this. It begins again. First Lady Jill Biden tests positive for COVID the second time. Imagine how bad it could have been if she wasn't vaccinated 4 times season. Again, great. It's also another winter of illness and death for the unvaccinated. Jill Biden is Joe's first sacrificial sheep for COVID-19 narrative. Eventually, all liberal Democrats will test Biden for propaganda. Lockdown to commit voting fraud for Biden is coming. What a coincidence that 2 of the most high-profile women in America, Jill Biden and Whoopi Goldberg, test positive for COVID. Joe Biden announces he'll be wearing a mask again, and mask mandates start popping up in blue cities, all at the same time. Definitely not coordinated. That's awesome. I will tell you exactly why this is happening. Well, one, it's happening because, like, obviously healthcare professionals and epidemiologists have been talking about how, like, new strains of the virus are inevitably going to peak again, and they're going to surge, and that's going to be an issue for people who are unvaccinated, people who are even vaccinated as well, depending on the type of strain or what the new virus looks like. That's normal, right? But is there a genuine interest on the ground from, like, Democrats and Republican voters, or just like regular people who are demanding like mask mandates or nationwide shutdowns or anything like that? Of course not. But you know who actually desperately wants that? Content creators. Okay? I say this, I'm a content creator myself. They love the content that this provides for them. They love the battle lines that are drawn for them. It's automatic content. It is the most shameless, is the most silly, most transparent cash grab ever. That every single one of these like fucking right-wing weirdos are literally like, oh, the lockdowns are coming again. The lockdowns are coming. I promise you. So that they can, so that they can like freak the fuck out over it when that is not necessarily what is happening at all. And of course, the other side of this is like, even if that were to happen, because, some super serious strain is like ripping through the population, okay? And it became a necessity. It's not the end of the fucking planet. You just have to suck it up usually. You know what I mean? As long as the government is giving those sweet stimmies, we should be good, okay? But the reality is, the reason why they're saying this is because they are desperate for it. They're fucking desperate for a time where they had this like, comfortable existence from their homes where they chirped about how they endlessly fucking chirped about COVID and how the shutdowns were awful and how they couldn't go to the barber and it was the worst thing that has ever happened. Okay? That's it. It is a desire to go back to a familiar territory and fight these low-stake battles. Okay? It's a good culture war issue that they can fight on. They think they can win on it. That's why they are pushing for it. And that's it. That's it. Does it mean student loans will get paused again? Absolutely not. Because I don't even think that lockdowns will happen again. Unless it gets completely and utterly out of hand in a way where there's like this insane strain that's just like ripping through the land, okay? Straight up murking people. I do not believe that lockdowns will come back because there's no appetite for it, okay? There's not a lot of appetite for it. You stop getting dome at a playground with kids around. My friend, how can I click on that video in your mind if there's like actual pornographic shit happening in it? Now, part of the reason why I don't even know where to go with this. It's just like, it's so fucking stupid. But part of the reason why people are able to come out with these conspiracy theories, or rather like endlessly cry about this, is because we are a very stupid country. Okay? We're a very, very stupid country. So it doesn't take much for people to believe in this shit and refuse to recognize that obviously when temperatures start getting lower and lower due to what is known as seasonal changes, there are also additional illnesses that come along with that, like flu season, right? It's not a conspiracy. It's just how it fucking works, right? But you can't explain that to people. They just think it's like, you just personally think it's just like a massive conspiracy. Everything's a conspiracy. I refuse to understand and acknowledge this. Oh, yeah, Elon Musk is blaming the ADL for Twitter's revenue dropping, which is pretty funny. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But like I said, I was saying that they're going to fucking do the COVID thing, but they're already going along with it. Any mention of COVID in the eyes of the conservative media apparatus is going to be, oh, they're just trying to do lockdowns again. They're just trying to do lockdowns again. Okay? It's awesome. That's what's really happening here. And they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know the fucking truth. All right. Let's get to Walter Masterson talking to MAGA people at Trump's arrest in Fulton County Jail.
There's a reason that the Chinese are setting up police stations all over our country. I mean, who's behind?
Wait a second, I haven't heard. No, that one I haven't heard. Tell me everything about that one.
I have heard. Are you familiar with the Epoch Times?
Epoch Times, yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
I have read that in there, that the Chinese are opening up police stations throughout our country. You have not heard about that?
Hey, Forgiato.
What's up, my dog? Again, you?
Again.
You gonna try to Riz me again? What's up? It's the Riz King. I love left media.
Tell me why Trump is innocent.
You gonna change my words? What we gonna do? Trump's innocent, man. The reason why they pushing Trump so hard is because if Trump doesn't go to jail, they go to...
Dude, you know, first of all, is he on Ozempic? What's going on? 4G self-suck? 5G self-suck is like looking a little skinny here. Maybe it's the black shirt that he's wearing. He's looking a little bit slimmer than usual. He's 3G auto blow now.
The jail. They don't want him in this race. They want him off this ballot. He's the president of the United States or a former president of the United States. He doesn't need to get a mugshot. He doesn't need to be handcuffed. All these indictments are backfiring. They're not going to help him because you don't like Donald Trump. I like Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, there's people who play 50-50 don't really know, and this shit here is making them say this is taking it way too far. Even you, my man, like you had to have more money when Trump was in. The economy's much better now, right? With Donald Trump.
Economy's better?
With Donald Trump. Then now, Donald Trump has helped so many people become who they are. Like you got to go undercover as someone who likes Donald Trump to get views.
Not all of us can get an inheritance from our
I
dad.
know, from daddy, for Auto Trader, right?
Yeah,
which I love anybody to show me where I got any money from anybody in my family. Never received an inheritance. I don't know what inheritance I could have got. But you know what? I got 6 Rolls Royces on my own, supporting Donald Trump.
That's so awesome. I mean, he's directly being like, I'm a grifter. I made a lot of money supporting Donald Trump. So, of course, I'm supporting Donald Trump. That's so funny. And he's like, Walter, didn't you also make a lot of money technically? So, like, because of Donald Trump, because a lot of people are paying attention to you? Is funny.
Trump, I got brand new cars, Tahoes, Trump trucks, billboards, money, because you know what? I get up every day and chase my dreams in this world that Donald Trump let us do that and fight for freedom.
The thing that people joke about is your whole born to ride Donald Trump.
Born to ride 45, that's the gang.
Yeah.
That's the gang. We out here putting on for Trump.
Do you like...
Putting on for Trump. Them people out here putting on for Trump.
That's funny, though. It's funny.
I don't think it's funny.
It's funny. It's so funny. Dude,
I don't think it's funny.
Born to ride Donald Trump.
I don't think that's funny. You're trying to Riz me. This man got some Riz challenge.
I know, but it's funny.
This the Riz
it's
challenge.
Funny. It's come on.
Let's go to the next one.
No,
you
but
got
if
that
you
one.
listen,
next one, next.
If you
Damn, he's getting like kind of mad. Like, no, it's not. What's funny about it? I love riding Donald Trump.
disagree that you.
I don't think he can't be that stupid, right? Does he not realize it?
you were doing comedy, I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna bow to you as the king of comedy because that's
It's
the
Born to
funniest
Ride 445, not Born to Ride 45.
Because the way it says.
Born to Ride 45. Make sure you get
I've
these
seen her at
white
everything.
supremacists.
You're Vietnamese, right? I've been to probably 20 to 30 rallies. I've seen you at everything.
Every single rally in the world.
I don't think I've been to a rally that I haven't seen you.
America, America, the greatest show on earth. Stop right up, stop right up. We got peanuts for all. We got peanuts. The greatest circus in the world. The world looks at America as a circus. Well, I bring the circus to America.
What work are you in?
I'm not a network. I'm a private citizen.
Oh wait.
And we just applied for the arrest of Fannie Willis in Magistrate
Oh wait,
Court.
can you hold that up to the camera?
We're outside of the Fulton County Courthouse right now.
This guy's back. I love this guy.
I just came from the Magistrate Court of Fulton County, where we applied for the arrest of Fannie Willis. The indictment has 4 charges. There's 2 under the state law and 2 under the federal law. The 2 under the state law relate to the conduct of public officials, and they are violation of oath of office and unprofessional conduct by public officers and employees.
Yeah.
And the 2 charges
He's Peter Griffin. He's a Peter Griffin impersonator.
under the U.S. Code are conspiracy against rights and deprivation of rights under color of law. This is a direct attack on Trump's ability to win the election in 2024, and so those are violations against her oath of office. I actually have been a candidate for office, State House up in Rome, Georgia, which is known to most of America as Marjorie Taylor Greenville. So she lives about 4
Have you
miles
met
or
her?
so. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You see her all the time.
Yeah, pretty regularly actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's she like?
I think Marjorie is a lot more intelligent than anyone gives her credit for. It's the same with Trump. They say, Trump is dumb. And Marjorie in particular is really great at just walking into a situation or room and immediately figuring out what the fix is. Like what.
I love him doing the Trump hand gestures, but like in a very Southern Belle type beat. You know what I mean? He put his own seasoning on it. He put his own spice on it. Love this guy.
Going on. Yeah. And really sharp at that, in fact.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Where are they? Where is Build Back Better? 666. That's a sign of the devil, President Obama. Get your hands off of me. Get your hands off my brothers and sisters. They are devil worshippers, right, Rihanna? Are we a devil worshiper at the Super Bowl Sunday halftime show with The Weeknd? I am homeless in heels working for President Trump on my dime and my time across this country since 2000.
No shot these people have jobs, right? No, they do. But it's not like a job that demands, it's not like a labor job. You know what I mean? They're not getting wages. In a lot of instances, they are landlords or, they're wives of landlords. You know what I mean? They have capital. So they have like a lot of time on their hands. They own businesses or they're like fucking real estate agents and shit like that. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that there aren't like poor people that are in the Trump constituency. Of course there are. But a lot of these are passive income jobs that keep them afloat somehow. With like husbands on disability, even though they literally fucking personally are constantly complaining about welfare. Like, you would be shocked. It actually doesn't even, I don't know. They just don't give a fuck. Like, it's very weird. So many of the people, especially in the South, that shit on disability and entitlements and all this shit, they unironically use it and like sometimes don't even recognize that they are benefiting from it. And in other times, they do recognize it, but they're like, but we deserve it. Other people are faking it. You know what I mean?
2015. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. You
What the
liberals
fuck?
that are out there, they have my balls in a vice. President Obama is married to a man. Mike Obama's private parts are bigger than a family-sized can of right guard. Why do you think they killed my sister, Joan Rivers? Why did Don Johnson try to kill me? That's me. I used to be a nice girl, went to finish in school.
Are you okay?
I mean, she's just schizophrenic, I think, right? But like, at this stage, it's like, At this stage, I don't know if this person is just like schizo or on a cocktail of medication. And also just a Trump supporter, maybe a bit of both. I don't know what's happening there.
Comedian?
No, I'm not. I'm a domestic violence survivor. I'm a
You're not a
whistleblower.
comedian?
I'm here to support Trump.
So we're here to support our president.
I have supported our president since he came down that escalator with his beautiful wife. Get over here, girl. You get over here. Abby. This is my sister in Christ, Abby. President Donald John Trump is going in cuffs today to expose the judicial system.
He ain't going to cuffs. Why are you so stupid?
You think liberals are in a cult?
Liberals are in a cult.
Yes, we are here because Trump is guilty. Lock him up and throw away the key.
Trump indicted. And again and again and again.
Get that shit. I made it. You made that? I made it, yeah.
Explain why you think Donald Trump is guilty.
We saw him on national television telling that guy from Georgia, the Secretary of State from Georgia, all I need is 11,780 votes.
I love her. I love her. Like, obviously, look, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird to be like this invested. It's a bit weird to be this invested in the in the thing where you're like dressing up and going and like partying and celebrating. But like even then, it's just like it's awesome. Allowed. You're just having fun with it.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta pee real quick.
Lock him up. Throw away the key.
They were just talking.
I love that
So
she
it's
said the
illegal
exact
to
number
just
of
talk
votes
about
too
finding
from the phone call.
780 votes. I feel like that's like freedom of speech. It's like a First Amendment.
It's a first, not when you want to overthrow the government and steal the votes of black and brown people. Because that's what he wanted to do.
What are you talking about? People have been doing that for years.
Yeah, but he was doing it bold-faced though. They've been doing it on the DL, at least trying to do it on the DL. But he doesn't care. Detroit, anywhere there are black people, that's where the way he think that voter fraud is taking place. He didn't question when the votes in the areas where he won, which is like white people who voted for him, he didn't question those. He questioned where there are a lot of black and brown people. With the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, we have changed it from conquest, war, famine, and death. We have changed it to white supremacy, patriarchy, capitalism, and complacency. Because complacency is what is going to cause the death. Yeah, the death of
otherwise known as neoliberalism.
I don't know what it is known as. I just know that people not participating, and when we don't participate, people like Trump and Eastman, and they're trying to steal our democracy is what we get.
Yeah, I mean, so you're just as concerned as most Americans about the militarization and the weaponization of law enforcement.
Definitely. I think that's the number one issue. I saw recently something that said that the FBI
Insane, dude. The level of mental illness you're on is whew.
had shot 4.
You missed it. She's based with 0 reading. What?
Just know that people not participating, and when we don't participate, people like Trump and Eastman, and they're trying to steal our democracy is what we get. The fraud is taking place. He didn't question when the votes in the areas where he won, which is like white people who voted for him, he didn't question those. He questioned where there are a lot of black and brown people. With the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, we have changed it from...
What? Guys, you're so fucking annoying, man. I hate the rewind shit. I actually do hate the rewind shit. Like, rewind chatters are so fucking annoying. It's just like, it's frustrating.
When they were overthrow the government.
People have been doing that for years.
At least trying to do it on the DL, but he doesn't care. Detroit, anywhere there are black people, that's where the way he think that voter fraud is taking place. He didn't question when the votes in the areas where he won, which is like white people who voted for him, he didn't question those. He questioned where there are a lot of black and brown people. With the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, we have changed it from conquest, war, famine, and death. We have changed it to white supremacy, patriarchy, capitalism, and complacency. Because complacency is what is going to cause the death. Yeah, the death of
otherwise known as neoliberalism.
I don't know what it is known as. I just know that people not participating, and when we don't participate, people like Trump and Eastman, and they're trying to steal our democracy is what we get.
Are you happy, chat? That was good. I mean, she had a great take, but also, we did it. Should we rewind it again? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, so you're just as concerned as most Americans about the militarization and the weaponization of law.
Recently, something that said that the FBI had shot 4 people dead in their, possibly in their own homes in the last month or so. It was one gentleman, he had said some negative things about Biden on the internet. They came to his house and they shot him dead.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to see the whole video.
Well, I don't think there is a video.
The cops, they were probably like, you know, fearing for their lives.
They came to his house.
Yeah.
Early in the morning, but he doesn't know what's going on. They bust into his house with automatic weapons. What's he gonna do? Well, he's just gonna go reach for his gun. He doesn't know who's coming into his home.
You can imagine the police just showing up to your house and executing you, like, and no knock warrant.
It should never be like that.
What do you think about Cop City?
Well, Cop City is a training ground for the police officers here, right?
Okay.
So what's the controversy with there? I don't
Well,
understand.
He will never, dude, these guys will never connect the dots. It's just like physically impossible. Physically impossible for these dudes to literally connect the dots in a situation like this. It's just like, yeah, law enforcement has completely gotten out of hand. They're so violent. They're thugs. They're jackbooted thugs. And then you go, okay, well, what about Cop City? And it's like, I don't understand. That's just training. That's really good. It's good that they're training, right? Which, by the way, ironically, is no different than, like, liberals, too. Liberals also do that shit where they're like, BLM, BLM, BLM. And then they're like, but Cop City's good because, like, they're training. You want them to train, right? You want them to train. It's like, brother, they've been getting funding for training for years. We need accountability, okay?
Seems like a militarization. It's 100 acres. It can simulate urban warfare. It just seems like a militarization to me.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. I think our police need to be prepared, especially after the riots and the looting, the burning, everything, all these kind of things that we've had over the last few years. They need to be prepared for all kinds of situations. It's totally different, yeah.
Totally different than the militarization.
That's different than attacking people.
A lot of talk about the weaponization of law enforcement. DOJ, the FBI, IRS, CIA. What do you think should be done about the weaponization of law enforcement?
Well, the only thing that really can be done is to clear them out, clear everyone out, especially at the top. I don't think it's the rank and file that are that corrupt. I think it's the ones in leadership. And I think that the corruption is so deep and so entrenched in these organizations that they really have to be totally destroyed. And of course, we know Kennedy said that he was going to do that with the CIA.
Before he died.
And we saw what happened with him. They put a bullet in his head. Dangerous venture to go against these people. They're going to destroy you, and we see what they're doing to Trump.
Almost like an abolishing. You have to destroy and rebuild these institutions because their foundation is just too rotten.
Exactly.
I sound like a liberal when I talk like this. When I talk about this, you know, like, because they talk about abolishing these institutions and well, because it's like they're basically saying you can't reform these institutions. They're just so corrupt. You need to destroy and rebuild.
I think that we're far past conservative and liberal. I mean, those are what the labels they want to put on us to divide us. But the truth is, we're far past that at this point. We're far past Republican and Democrat, conservative, liberal. We're way past that. We're down to evil versus good at this point.
Yeah, totally. Like, they definitely didn't think that when they were voting for George W. Bush. Like, people are so fucking stupid about this. Where it's like, oh, it's just evil versus good. It's like, no, you said that about every election. And Democrats say that too. There's like no other way of framing this conversation beyond like good and evil. Like, Republicans are evil, Democrats are good. We got to vote for the Democrats. Republicans do the other thing on the other side where it's like Democrats are evil and Republicans are good and we need to fucking defeat the evil. Why? Because politics is supposed to be about a distribution of power and resources. But in the United States of America, all of that is under a vice grip of those who own both parties, okay? And the people on the ground are just having these fucking petty squabbles left and right. Like, it's wild that this conversation basically turns into like, oh, well, the other side's they want to do evil. That's why I want to win. It's like, how about issues, man? How about some issues? Like, how about I want to vote for the Republicans because, like, I don't know, I love deregulation. I love toxic pollutants in my water supply. That's why I want to vote Republican. How about, I want to vote for the Democratic Party because I love healthcare. I think the Democratic Party, I'm an idiot, and I think the Democratic Party actually is genuine when they say we want universal healthcare coverage. You know what I mean? Everyone is an annoying little fucking centrist at the end of the day when they're all fucking neoliberal centrists. Their mannerisms, their attitudes, their interests, and they're just like deviate slightly on certain issues where they're like, I'm going to vote for the Republican Party because, like, they're actually more violent towards undocumented immigrants. And it's like, it's not really the case. I mean, the Brandon administration is not exactly great on its treatment of immigrants that are coming over the border. You know what I mean? They're not great either. Don't worry. If you were looking at it honestly, you would recognize that both Democrats and Republicans are kind of doing the same shit with marginal deviations. But obviously, those marginal differences lead to dramatically different outcomes for people on the ground. And what I mean by that is the Republicans are running on culture war issues, and ultimately those culture war issues do end up harming people, clearly, and the Democrats don't do enough to defend those people. I mean, marginalized people, but marginalized people are voiceless. They rarely ever vote because why the fuck should they? Because their interests are not represented. Anyway.
You actually have a good point about this. Should we, as conservatives, start marching with these progressives that are, marching and protesting against the police? Like Cop City, great example. Is that like a weaponization of law enforcement? Cop City.
I'm not familiar with Cop City.
In Atlanta, they're building a military facility. It's like 100 acres, millions of taxpayer dollars, and it's like it's militarizing the police force of Atlanta.
But I think the better question to ask is who's behind that? The taxpayers may be funding it, but who's behind that? There's someone pushing these things. There's a reason that the Chinese are setting up police stations all over our country. I mean, who's behind
Wait
this?
a second, I haven't heard. No, that one I haven't heard. Tell me everything about that one.
I have heard. Are you familiar with the Epoch Times?
Epoch Times, yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I have read that in there, that the Chinese are opening up police stations throughout our country. You have not.
I love that. They're against federal law enforcement, and they hate it because, like, the federales, the agents are coming after their big, beautiful boy, Donald Trump. Meanwhile, she's literally repeating propaganda from a CIA-backed cult in China that has been able to captivate and mind melt so many fucking boomer brains with their propaganda that is totally allowed to be spread in the United States of America. That is what is awesome about this situation. Literally heard about this place 2 seconds ago, and she's already formed a conspiracy theory about it. Jesus. Wait, Matt Taibbi's employers? Get the fuck out of here. Matt Taibbi's employed by Epoch Times? No shot. Really? Oh, God, that's so sad, dude. I can't believe I used to be such a fucking fan of his. It's crazy. Please don't tell me that.
Heard about that?
I didn't know that the Chinese Communist Party was setting up police stations throughout the United States.
Yes, and they're also funding our colleges and universities.
Okay.
You do know about that, right?
Well, the Penn State thing, for sure.
But it's even farther than that. I mean, they are everywhere in this country. But see, this is
So you're
what...
saying, like, if you look further into Cop City, you'll find that this is a CCP plot. Yeah, but I'm saying you're not saying an absolute. You're saying it's, if they're setting up.
Question to ask.
Yeah.
Who is behind this? What is the impetus behind
it?
it?
It was just training, and then it was all of these other things, people that were trying to tear it down, all the homeless people that were living in there. Are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah.
I don't mind our police police being trained well, though. I don't have a problem with that.
Again, you do always have to follow the money. I always do that. You always have to ask who is behind this, what's the impetus behind this. I just think that's a wise question to ask.
A lot of us obviously are upset about the weaponization of law enforcement.
Sure. And in fact, I'm actually a defendant in another weaponization of law enforcement case in Georgia, which is the Rome 4 case up in Rome, which involves the police of Rome suppressing and arresting protesters at the Trans Queer Pride for Kids event. This case is particularly important and close to me as someone who has been a victim of the politicization of law enforcement.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen pictures
100-acre trading facility.
Right.
And it just seems to me like militarization. And
I mean, the militarization of law enforcement, I think, is a valid concern, and it's actually something that you actually hear from both more the libertarian right as well as people on the left.
That's actually true.
So it's something that actually people can come together on. There's actually a lot if people would not be drawn into the bitterness of partisanship that actually people could agree on.
What do you think about the weaponization of law enforcement?
It's disgusting, deplorable.
What do you think is a solution to this weaponization of the DOJ,
It's gotta be
IRS?
cleaned out. It's got to be. We need leaders that care enough and are strong enough to clean up the mess that it's become.
What about Cop City?
I don't know much about Cop City.
100 acres.
Oh, where all the Antifas were assaulting the cops? I did see that. That's right.
Yeah. Is that in line with militarization and weaponization of law enforcement?
The protest to it or Cop City itself?
The protest to it is the militarization of law enforcement? Really? Like the Antifas are militarizing? Is that what he's trying to say? Exclusive, Matt Taibbi, how hidden actors distort reality, manipulate the public, and enforce consensus? What the fuck? There ain't no way, brother. This can't be real, right? Dude, I don't want to fucking watch. What is happening, man? I go on his fucking website, and it's literally like, what did they put a fucking keylogger on my computer at this point? It's like, Jesus Christ. Just absolutely fucking impossible to just like look at one article. Holy shit. Anyway, I'm not going to continue with Google, obviously. Mountain Dew shill. Man, if the day Mountain Dew gives me money to fucking shill their product is the day that I'm a happy man, okay? Whew, I would love that. God damn. Why'd you flash the can of pop? What do you mean? Did that look like I was doing marketing? Like, are you guys new here? I drink Mountain Dew every fucking day.
Cop City itself.
I think they need a training ground to train the cops. It's my understanding of why they're building that facility. So.
Did you know that recently there has been Fulton County Jail is being sued? They let a mentally challenged man die, and he died from bed bugs, and his cell was completely filthy.
I just wish they would like expand on this like anti-carceral state attitude that they fucking have only when their big beautiful guy is in the crosshairs of the criminal of the justice system.
Fecal matter, broken glass, and this jail right here. So that's why they wanted to do it here at this jail. They would love to see Donald Trump in this nasty, and it's famous all over America for being a very vicious jail to be in, a nasty jail.
One of the people in the Republican debates, Vivek Ramaswamy, he's talking about how we should raise the voting age to 24 and demand that voters pass a civics test.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So you think in 24 is an appropriate age to start voting?
I would think so.
I think 18 is fine. I do like the civics test. I don't know if I would necessarily make it a requirement.
There's elected officials that have never taken a civics class.
Hard to believe.
There's members of the United States Senate. They've never taken a class in civics. Congress. United States Congress.
Interesting idea. I don't think it'll ever pass, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I support Vivek. I met him. Great guy, personally. Came over, shook his hand, talked with him for 10 minutes. Great guy.
I'm good with the civics.
Joseph
test,
Steelen.
If you can go to war at 18, you should be able to vote at 18.
I agree, but I do think a civics test might be a good idea.
I think everybody should have to take a civics test. And especially immigrants coming here should have to take a couple of classes for sure.
You guys heard of Vivek Ramaswamy?
Oh, yeah. Well, he worships a Hindu god, and at the top of this nation.
Dude, I fucking told you. I fucking told you. I told you that at the top of the hour there's a 3-minute ad break, and none of you listened. I told you that if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, and none of you heard me out. Okay? I told you time and time again that you can even get gifted a sub if you're lucky and avoid those ads that way. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. But you paid no mind. You paid no attention. But here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Just like Obama was a closet homosexual.
Yo!
On a Hindu god worship.
First of all, he was not a closeted homosexual. He was actually an open bisexual, as evidenced by the truth, and also by Tucker Carlson's interview with the homosexual man that he engaged in sexual misconduct with, which we will be watching later today, by the way.
Worship of running our nation, bottom line. He's a Hindu.
Okay. So I thought we liked Vivek.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, he don't like Israel. He just went to Wikipedia, and there may be criminal charges against him. He paid to have things removed the day before he announced his presidency. One of the main things he had removed was his Hindu faith. But number two, that he was best friends with the creator of the mRNA vaccine and called that man his mentor. All that's now gone.
Because he made his money in pharma and big pharma.
True, mRNA. Why would you go scrub that from your Wikipedia? He is our Obama. Slick, smooth, the best talker up there. But once it's all over with, you'll see that he's not a true conservative. There's a lot about him that
he's cooking him.
There's only one man in this race.
I think a civics test sounds like a great idea.
Yes, civics test would be a great idea.
I may roll it all the way back and say you have to own property to vote.
Yes, just like the founding fathers.
No, that's a great idea.
Oh my God, just the founding fathers. It was like property owners. It was, yeah.
You know, really, don't take our freedoms for granted. Freedom's not free.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
You like him. You've met him.
At first, I was against it. I was like, I think this is a horrible idea. Until I sat back and I thought about it a lot.
I told you that every fucking Groyper dork loves Vivek because he hits the Groyper dork lines pretty hard. In the same way that they loved Ron DeSantis because they thought like he's going to be instituting fascist policies like he's doing in fucking Florida, not realizing that in order to get to that position of power, at least in the national election, you have to have a little bit of charisma. But when you look like this and you talk like this, you dress like this, you act like this, you don't necessarily have a good barometer for what kind of rhetoric and what kind of politician is going to be received well by the broader demographic of voters. Oh.
I believe that it's a good move. I think that while it may make it harder for some to vote, you have to take a test to drive
a car. 24. You're 19. You won't get to vote.
I'll take the test and then I can vote.
So the people that can't pass a civics test have to wait till they're 24.
Yes. It's the same concept with a license. You have to pass a test, an exam, and if you fail it, you don't get to drive. And I feel like a vote is influential as driving a car. You can kill somebody in a car. If you have a leader up there in office who doesn't know what they're doing, a lot of people have died from fentanyl and everything like that.
You know, the founding fathers actually had a very restrictive right to vote, and they in their writing repeatedly said that that's necessary to preserve a Republican form of government. And so we've had an experiment over the last 50 to 100 years of maximizing voter turnout, you know, and has that made the government better or worse?
Back then it was just wealth, it was landowners, and
Right.
they would pick
It's like, and I love that.
the president. Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, I mean, originally the states picked the president. There was no popular vote for president. And so the original design of the founders was to have the states have their ambassadors in Washington, aka the senators, and the states to pick the president, so that the president was not chasing after the votes directly of people and then promising programs, gifts, etc. We apparently thought we knew better than the founding fathers, and I'm not sure that we did.
He wants to.
Dude, that's crazy. That's awesome. Like, we should make this process even less democratic. That's sick. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're... First of all, wait, hold up. You're in Georgia. Do you really want the Georgian senators to pick... Hold up. You want your senators to pick the president, dog? Like, I know that Republicans love when land votes instead of the people on top of that land. But, like, kind of weird for him to be like, yeah, the senators should have a say in who gets to be the president, not me. And it's like, bro, look at your senators right now. I forgot for a brief moment. I was captivated by the beauty of Peter Griffin, fake lawyer Peter Griffin, for a second, and forgot that they're in Georgia.
Institute a civics test to vote.
I'm not sure about that.
You're not sure? Yeah.
He's like, I'd fail.
Now, I've seen they wanted to bring the age down to 16 because they're hoping some of the propaganda they have in school now will help them get some more votes. I heard there was talk of dropping the voting age. That's the first I heard of someone wanting to raise it.
This is crap. You trying to get my words to change. They ain't going to change, my brother.
So you'll still vote for him even if he's convicted?
I'll write his name in. Only they can get Trump is sedition charge. Trump gets sedition charge and we can't write his name in.
And all of you liberals.
You're going to still vote for him even if he's convicted?
We will. I will vote for him. I'm wanted. I am vote for him. Abby, I'm wanted in 4 states.
If he is convicted, thrown in jail, you'll still vote for him, right?
Okay, maybe she's not just anti-law enforcement due to Trump. Maybe she's anti-law enforcement due to her own personal criminal charges. I don't know.
I will. Yeah, even more so.
If Trump is convicted and put in jail, you're still going to vote for him.
Well, first of all, he's not convicted until the Supreme Court convicts him. In America, that's not a conviction. We have an appeals process, which will take years. So by the time that happens, he'll be back.
Wait, what? Wait. That's so nutty. I love that. God, libertarians are fucking sick, dude. No one that actually is convicted and goes to jail is actually there in a justifiable manner until they appeal the process, and that process goes all the way up to the fucking Supreme Court. That's so sick. Yeah, my DUIs ain't real until the Supreme Court convicts me, brother. He's like, listen, I got domestic abuse charges a couple years back, and I went to prison for it. It was fucking bullshit. They should expunge it. Guess why? Because the Supreme Court did not convict me. The civics test thing is starting to look enticing. I mean, it's very bad, I think. That's a very bad idea.
Back in office and handle everything.
No matter what the situation is,
Well, Jesus was convicted as well. Innocent man.
Yeah.
So just a conviction means nothing to us at all.
You'll still vote for him no matter
Oh, we know that.
Of course.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, of course the people that are at the protests are going to do that regardless. And I do think that a lot of Republicans will do that anyway. But I don't know if people would rather have like a safe carcass or potentially a constitutional crisis. You know what I mean? Especially when like it's kind of both parties are the evil that you know. It's not like there's anything new. A safe carcass, Joe Biden. I'm talking about the two options. If the election is held tomorrow, Trump is the candidate and Joe Brandon is the candidate. The only thing that will change Joe Brandon being the candidate is if he fucking dies, right? Yeah, you have the safe carcass going up against a possible, not just like a liability or anything, but a poll came out this past weekend saying up to 27% of Republicans wouldn't vote for Trump if he was convicted. That's kind of wild. That how low that number is when you think about it with like the lens of sanity. You're like, only 27% of Republicans wouldn't vote for Trump if he is convicted. Like, think about that. Now that number is actually higher because That number is actually higher than Trump's approval rating. Republicans and their approval of Donald Trump has oftentimes, throughout his entire candidacy, actually stayed pretty stable, rarely ever getting under 90%. The fact that it goes down to 73% is kind of wild. However, it's still wild to me if I for a brief moment take a deep breath and think of America as like a normal and sane nation rather than a nation of psychopaths. 27% of Republicans saying like, yeah, I won't fucking vote for Donald Trump if he's convicted is incredibly low.
Trying to accuse Trump of everything. Insurrection, sending fake electors to Michigan, Arizona, 5 other states.
The Constitution demands it.
Mishandling documents, stealing secret documents.
You mean he had it in his garage?
The Georgia's RICO law. They went after Trump University.
Oh, yeah. They all loved him until they found out he loved America. They don't love America. They love their power. They love their system, their structure.
I've heard this meme so many times. This guy's just like a meme machine. He's like talking to a robot that just like spits out iFunny memes that you see circulating on Facebook. Like, you know, they're not going after him. They're going after me, but he's standing in the way. Like, that's what he's about to say. You know what I mean? Like, everything he's saying right now, I've heard from old ladies named Bertha posting on Facebook iFunny memes that have been like repopulated 1,000 times over, and they're fucking grainy at this point.
They're swamped. Nixon was a good boy because Nixon went home and shut up. If Donald Trump would have been a good boy, he wouldn't be here today.
It's just the same thing that they did to Richard Nixon.
Yep.
Famous for being...
Okay, technically that's not false. I take it back because, yes, Donald Trump did not shut up, as in he lost and he kept talking, and then he did mouth crimes where he talked his way into conspiracies, not a conspiracy theory, mind you, but a conspiracy to commit fraud. So that's why he's not wrong technically, because he didn't shut up. He kept openly doing crimes over and over again.
Innocent.
But Nixon, I watched CNN the other night when they admitted that the only reason Nixon did not get prosecuted after the fact because he
wasn't running.
Yeah. He went home. He shut up. No influence. Donald Trump loved America too much to shut up.
You're still going to vote for him, even if he is convicted.
If he is the Republican nominee, yes, sir, I will definitely vote for him.
Now, I won't vote for him even if he is convicted.
You will?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I will do a write-in.
You're still going to vote for Trump, even if he is convicted.
Absolutely.
It actually makes me want to vote harder.
They may continue to throw more indictments at him. Go for it. Trump is an innocent man, and he will win again.
Yeah, and you'll still vote for him even if he's convicted.
If he's on the ballot, I'm voting for him.
You're still going to vote for Trump even if he's convicted.
Yeah, I think he'll still get a lot of votes if he's in jail anyway. Secret Service will have to come and take him out of jail and go bring him to the White House.
America is a ship. It only rides in the water when it's balanced, just like any ship. Before Obama.
This is embarrassing for the grandchildren of these idiots. I mean, listen, dude, it is what it is. You know what I mean? You're not always going to agree with your fucking parents, whatever. There's not really much you can do about it. I back in the day, I used to tell people in my community to like put fucking parental passwords if you have access to your TV to like stop your parents from watching Fox News. You know what I mean? But now they have Facebook. You know what I mean? You can't stop your parents from getting brain broken.
Obama, America was in the middle. We all gravitated toward that center where the ship rode well. When Obama came and put gays in the military and transgenders in the bathroom, the ship goes like this, right? The only way to right it, we had to find Donald Trump to bring it back over.
You're talking about indoctrination.
Sure.
There's a lot of indoctrination going on.
Obama put gays in the military? What the fuck does he think Don't Ask, Don't Tell was? Like, It was an acknowledgement that gays were in the military, obviously. But, like, let's just not speak about it. I can't believe he said Obama invented homosexuality. Like, what level of delusion are we on? Has he not heard of the Navy? Yeah, also, the military's gay as fuck anyway, but whatever.
I've said President Trump needs to change the slogan to MEGA, not MAG. Make education great again.
By getting rid of the Department of Education.
Absolutely. Or critical race theory, all the books in these libraries that's destroying children's minds.
I hear reports of parents.
Yeah, we should burn the books. We should burn the books as hard as we possibly can.
Now, they don't want to bring their kids to church until they're like 13 or 16, because they're like, oh, well, then they're old enough to understand.
Indoctrinated before that.
So what's an appropriate age to bring your kid to church, in your opinion?
The moment they're born.
Okay.
I was born in the church, actually. My mother had me in the church.
Yeah.
So I believe a child, my Lord, why wouldn't you bring a child to start grounding them in the moral laws of the...
I love that. He said grounding because it sounds so close phonetically to grooming, which is what he actually does want. Like, why don't you start grooming them in the ways of the Lord, in the ways that the Lord intended? And if some of the choir boys get a feel, if I cop a feel on them, then there's also the Lord turns the other cheek, and by that I mean ass cheeks of children. Okay, and nothing wrong with that when I do it. It's the gays and the trans that are grooming. Okay,
the Almighty God.
And that'll get rid of this indoctrination.
Absolutely, sir. But you see, that's the reason we started public schools. The reason public schools was started, you can go read the 2 reasons. Because at one time...
Bringing the kids to church is not a bad thing, though, right? I don't give a shit about bringing children to church overall, okay? I don't care. But it is... Let's be honest. For the most part, kids don't like it. They get bored. And it actually, unironically, does the exact opposite thing that you think it'll do, which is indoctrinate them into firmly holding on to religious beliefs. In this day and age, it don't matter. There is an element of community that's good, but you can get that elsewhere. Unfortunately, in the United States of America, you can't really do that. Anywhere else, there's no sense of community anywhere else other than the church. No, it's terrible actually. Going to church made me atheist. Man, if church attendance was that much of a banger, you would not have church participation go down year over year. You understand that? Like, no matter what happens, the more science continues to unmask some of the mysteries of the world, the less interest people have in filling the gaps with something that offers them context, that makes them feel safe. That is part of the reason why these guys also spend a incredible amount of time literally trying to abolish the Department of Education and only allow religious indoctrination to occur rather than regular fucking scientific learning, okay? There is a very nefarious and fairly straightforward reason as to why they don't want you to fucking learn about things like evolution, for example. Pre-they, them military footage. And then... What do you mean? These are just a bunch of red-hot-blooded Americans. They look like they were straight ripped out of Central Casting with them sexy-ass uniforms they're wearing. Bet you they'd look just as good if they took them uniforms off too, get a little comfortable, pecs glistening in the sun as they stand on top of that cruiser. Thinking about sweat beads dropping down from their nipples. Nothing gay about that. Yeah, you can't get any more macho.
All schools in America were religious, even our colleges, universities, Harvard, they were all religious. Public schools were started to break the stronghold of Christian doctrine over our children. Everyone in our church is homeschooled.
Okay. Wow.
We took back over our children. We took them away from the government schools.
And that's a good way to get rid of the indoctrination.
That's the only way that I know of. What other way is there?
What are some ways to stop this indoctrination?
I am for homeschooling now. I was not a big advocate for homeschooling.
Schooling to stop this indoctrination.
Stop the indoctrination, and I'm not even sure we should be sending them to college. I think we could go to technical schools, make sure that they go to conservative colleges, like where is the one?
Liberty, Baylor.
There's another one, Heritage, I think. Teach the Constitution, teach about our founding fathers, teach real history, and instead of this indoctrination and putting our students in debt. I mean, they're in debt. They could buy a home with the money that they get out of school with debt, and they, even if they get really good jobs, their debt to income earned will not let them buy a house.
So you're saying that we should make college free for all, or lower the cost of college?
I don't know what the answer is. I used to think it was, I love this lottery idea that the people going to school that made good grades, but now that I'm seeing that happen, these universities are raising the cost of astronomically for these kids to go, and then these professors are paid all this money, and then it just rolls upon itself. Then the government only hires like the lawyers and things like that out of these schools, and they're indoctrinated at this point.
I've been hearing parents talking about not bringing their kids to church until they're 13 or 16 and they're old enough to make a proper decision.
No, that's not, I don't believe in that. No,
that's like something like the mask mandates.
That's so funny. Nope. Church is good. Again, all of this makes sense if your moral system that you've designed is it's okay when I do it, it's totally fucked up, and the worst evil when they do it, which is a principle that you can apply to every single concept that Republicans engage with. Okay? Every single concept is like, no, it's fine. It's of course it's fine. We need to do church indoctrination. We can't do school indoctrination. It's okay when we vote. It's okay when we lie, steal, and cheat. It's not okay when the other side even goes out and votes, like actually votes. All of their votes are fraudulent and fake and gay. All of our votes are the real ones, and they're somehow still being suppressed. I love the talking point that professors make a lot of money. I stopped grad school after my master's because I saw how little my professors made. Yeah, no, professors, they're fucking raking the big bucks.
Separate us. Make us suspicious of each other.
For the record, what's an appropriate age to bring your kid to church?
Well, parents have to be involved with their church education as well as their school education.
The national education needs to be disbanded. That's unconstitutional. We need to go to the states running their own education. But I think that should be mandatory.
Are you talking about like school choice, or are you talking about?
Well, we definitely need school choice, but I just don't think that we need a national education. We need to go to the states, need to decide what they do in their states regarding their education.
Let the states decide.
Let the states decide. The federal government cannot.
Hey, let me tell you, if they're cheating on elections like you believe they are and they're stealing, do you really want the blue government of the wonderful state of Georgia to decide what happens to your children's education? Once again, you're saying these things and not really fully thinking about it, because we are in Georgia, a state where the libtards stole the vote, which, by the way, of course, states also decide what to do with elections to a certain degree. That dude is Shane Vaughn, a crazy Trump pastor that thinks Trump is a messiah. That's awesome.
Tell some little small community.
But, like, of course you need centralization. The entire principle behind education in general, specifically public education, which is supposed to be the norm with no other private alternatives if we lived in a normal structure, is creating social cohesion. I know that a lot of Americans are hot-blooded and exclusively think on the boundaries of being a critical thinker and an individual, hyper-individualist, like big brain smart guy. But the reality is that that's what the education is there for. Education and military creates social cohesion. You need that, okay? You need that if you want to coexist. It's just like a fundamental role that a centralized force is supposed to play, is ensure that social cohesion is also giving you adequate resources, information necessary for you to have a productive labor force. Like, it is a complete necessity, like a Department of Education is a complete necessity across the board. One thing that I will always ask people whenever they say, oh man, the Department of Education, America is spending so much money on the Department of Education, like where's that money going? And how the Department of Education must be abolished. We need to privatize this structure. All these Republicans that unconditionally fucking push this narrative. To them I ask, what developed or developing nation has this level of privatization in their K through 12 education? Every single fucking nation that absolutely rips the United States of America to shreds with educational outcomes, whether it be literacy, math, any kind of educational outcome. And there are ways to, there are metrics of success in education that can get as universalized as possible. Every single fucking nation, with the exception of the United States of America, has robust public education structures designed. Some nations have tried to privatize it, like Sweden, okay? Immediately saw diminishing returns, immediately saw that the outcomes were not positive, and went back to the public structure very quickly. It's so fucking dumb. Americans are so ruthlessly blind to the existence of other countries, even ones that we talk about all the fucking time. It's like China's lapping us, China's doing this, and it's like, yeah, okay. You know what else China's doing? Banning private education, specifically so that there is no two-tier structure. Now, are they doing this out of the kindness of their hearts? I'm not that big of a fucking Xi Jinping dick rider. No, they're doing this because they understand that public education, whether it be Confucianism or thousands of years of value placed upon the importance of education and like arriving at some semblance of a meritocratic approach, they know how important that shit is to have as many people as possible get educated as best as possible, yields positive outcomes for the country. It's so fucking stupid. The worst part about this, of course, is that this is a bipartisan issue. A lot of these people don't realize that Democrats are also looking to gut public institutions and specifically education. Democrats since the 90s have been pushing for charter schools, which is their version of gutting the Department of Education by taking those funds from the Department of Education and reappropriating them to the other version of school choice, unaccountable, unrecognized charter schools that can just shut down in the middle of an middle of a semester with no legal recourse whatsoever.
Best for their students there.
What do we do about this indoctrination?
That's another problem. I think over the last several decades, our schools have been infiltrated by communists.
And they're doing this despite the private tutors and ed tech in China. They know they are not able to provide good public education to everyone, but they're still banning private players just to level the playing field in the society. I think another part of the they don't want. They do not want anybody to benefit from a structure that is unequal. And for the record, their education structure overall is still properly funded. I don't think that it's fair to say that the Chinese education system is bad in rural areas. Like, I don't think that's true. I don't fully agree with you on that. If you were to say medicine, I agree with you. Okay? There are certain things that China suffers on, and providing hospitals in rural areas in the same way that like you can have access to healthcare in a city, in a big city, is it's not the same still. That is one of the few areas where even development has not been able to impact. Has not had that similar impact that it has in every other aspect. Chinese education beats the shit out of the American system? Absolutely. It is. Rural areas in China are still very impoverished, even with the end of absolute poverty. Guys, it takes time. That's my perspective on this. It takes time. At least they're moving in the right direction, whereas America has consistently moved in that exact same time frame in the worst direction. Does that make sense? Is China's public education really better than the U.S.? Abso-fucking-lutely. It's not even a thing. That's not even in question. Yes. It's not even close. Yes. Brother, I grew up in Turkey, a country that is nowhere near as wealthy as America is. A country that was, by many metrics, a stable yet maybe, according to some metrics, a developing nation. Okay? It's developed in certain areas, and then there are certain areas that are underdeveloped. A country that was very fucking corrupt. And even then, there was at least public education readily available for every single fucking student. Okay? Every single student. In the United States of America, our educational outcomes are fucking awful. Measuring poverty in rural areas is also hard, considering they don't usually pay for rent or much for food, which are the biggest expenses in an urban household. It's hard to measure rural poverty just from income. You can make that argument about America as well to a certain degree. But it's just like, it doesn't fucking make sense. I'm from Camagüey, Cuba. Fam in the middle of nowhere has their clinics in small hospitals. They still need to go to the bigger hospitals in the cities for maternity and operations. Government provides transport, or there are ambulance services where no big hospital is closed. America, since 2010 or so, has been on a consistent decline, and America's going absolute shit. I honestly hope America falls to dog shit so I can finally leave the shithole. First of all, it's not been in a consistent decline since 2010. It's been on a consistent decline since the Reagan era. You just never really saw the worst aspects of it until recently, because the original boom that it yielded for American industry or our GDP was able to hide the worst aspects of it. America's been on decline for a very long time, much even fucking longer than the 80s, if we're being honest. The education system exists for one purpose: to keep you just competent enough to wage slave. Education system across the board exists for that purpose. The point is, are you going to teach people adequately? Is there going to be enough funds? Or is there not going to be enough funds? And in the United States of America, we genuinely move in the other direction in comparison to other countries that are like, no, of course we want to make sure that our fucking children are like at least smart, you know? And it shows. It actually fucking shows in our outcomes, in our educational outcomes, when you compare it to other countries. Biraz çok, evet. Onu bir nokta yaparsan daha iyi. Ya da 1,5 yap, 1,5. Look up Pincher, Oklahoma. People stayed there until they were literally dead from natural disasters, claiming there was nothing wrong with their town. People are stubborn to death here.
Homeschooling is an option, or private schools. I see a lot of states passing reforms to the education with school choice. Public school system is corrupt.
Yeah, I mean, guys, what are we doing here? Look at this. It's official. Ryan Walters, the superintendent in Oklahoma State, has announced that the state has partnered with PragerU.
Damn, this guy's good.